Chris on this call.
You
It's
missed it.
officially
Beth.
Sally, I think.
You
All
missed
right.
it. I danced for everybody.
He did a
You
dance,
did.
Linda,
You
and he
did?
said you were going to follow his dance with the encore. So yeah, we're waiting.
Okay.
That face.
All right, Z, you're it. I'll see you guys later. Have a good
All right.
time.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. All right.
All right. So it
I'm
is.
proud that the chamber has way too much fun, I'm thinking.
Yeah, we do. Absolutely. So it's 3 o'clock. Victoria, do you want to start, everybody?
Absolutely, absolutely. It is 3 o'clock, you're right. And welcome to Good News Girlfriends Friday. And I'm delighted to see all of you on a kind of cloudy day. I feel like we're back in winter, but as everybody tells me, it won't last long. So enjoy it while it lasts. But we are here to share some good news this week. We are missing Sally, as most of you know. She's on her way, or I think she's probably there by now, off to Seattle, and she gets to see her family. And as all of you that have waited to travel, I'm sure you can imagine what that's like. But I hope she's having a great time, and I'm glad you came here to stand in her place. So Shauna's going to keep us on track today and make sure we're recording and all that. And that being said, I do want to ask for your good news. And I wanted to also ask, last week I asked you to come back ready to share what's one thing that you learned from COVID, the pandemic, being at home, whatever that means to you. What is the one thing that you learned that makes you a better person, and you're going to keep that lesson and embrace that lesson for the rest of your life? No pressure here, but I'm sure I'll hear a few things that I've overlooked and I'd like to kind of learn from the rest of you. So share your good news and let us know, what's that one thing? What's that one thing that's really had a positive influence on you from the last year of COVID? So where shall we start? Well, just to be different, I'll start with Shauna because I always leave Sally for the last. So pulled you, Shauna.
Let's see. Good news. I had a great week. Finished my CrossFit. Oh, you guys didn't know I was in a CrossFit competition, and I finished in my age group 8th, but that was 8 with a lot of people. And so it was very exciting. I was very proud of myself, and very sore.
I'm very sore.
And very sore. But it wasn't about the competition against others. It was about a competition against myself. So very proud that I completed it. One thing that I am taking away from the pandemic is self-care. And not just health-wise, but emotionally, and just making sure that I take care of myself, because that's not something that I did in the past. It was always everybody else first, and then if there was anything left over of me, then I took care of me. And now I am making sure that I put me as a priority. So that's one thing I'm taking away from the pandemic.
Excellent. Excellent. That is a good one. I think most of us need to remember that one once in a while. So thanks for bringing that up, Shauna. And we're going to be watching. Just saying, better put yourself first.
Yep.
Okay, good. Mary, how about you?
Well, happy Friday, everybody. I had an amazing week. I have lots of good news, but my birthday week, my son was 52 days sober from heroin on my 52nd birthday.
Wow.
So that was super cool. But my ultimate good news was 9 years ago. I made some poor decisions and didn't know what I didn't know. And I ended up owing the IRS to over $25,000. So my word for 2021 is freedom. And I am officially free from the debt of the IRS.
Wow.
So yeah, that's like, whoo, I can breathe again. I can breathe again. And as far as COVID, like there were a lot of things, Shauna, absolutely the self-care, and you can't pour what you don't give, what you don't receive, you can't give. But I think the number one lesson for me is how little control we really do have. And if we're lucky, we have maybe 3 to 5% control of anything. And that's our feelings, our attitudes, our behavior. And so really just learning to, this former control freak, I don't have control. So I have to do what I can do, and that's all I can do.
Excellent, excellent. That's a good one. And congratulations, that's awesome. Your birthday, your son, and goodbye IRS. Woo, awesome. Good deal, good deal. Okay, Karen, why don't you share your good news?
Oh, I have all kinds of good news. Let's see. I'll start with my dad. I shared before my dad was cancer free. What we didn't know was that it was mesothelioma, which was very scary, but it had encapsulated itself in the place that he had removed. And so the doctors are, of course, they're like, how on earth, this is very rare. And so they did a PET scan and he has no cancer, which is very surprising for mesothelioma. So that's my very good news. My other good news is that my dog got to come to work this week and he was a good boy and it was so nice. It was the first time bringing him to the new building and I have my own office here. So it was nice just to have him next to me. And what did I learn? I learned from, the biggest thing I learned, because I'm married 2 times now. And I realized how important it is to have my own space. And I don't mean like just to go in a room and close the door. Like I need to have my own, like I won't be interrupted. Nothing's going to catch me off guard. Like this is my space to go to. And I never realized how important that is until now. So I learned that.
Oh, good, good. Something you can honor just to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you for sharing. Kayla, what's your good news this week?
Okay. Well, before I share, I have to ask Shauna something. Did you say you did a CrossFit competition?
Yes, it was 3 weeks.
I thought you said cross stitch until you said you were sore. And I was like, what?
Yeah, it was a CrossFit.
Rock and roll on the floor.
My fingers hurt.
Wow.
Oh my gosh. That was funny. Anyway, okay. My good news. I will tell you, every day at House of Refuge, there is good news. And so I am very blessed about that. But probably a really big good news is that I hired a director of family services this week. And I am just thrilled beyond words. We had 190 resumes sent in for this position. So it was kind of an arduous process, but it was, I just think we have an excellent candidate. So I'm just really jazzed about that whole thing. And tonight, a few of us get to go to a Coyotes game because they're going to present us with a check. So that's good news as well. So I'm very excited about that.
Well, and who was on the cover of the newspaper?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, it's sitting right here on my desk. Front page.
He's
above the
famous.
fold. Woohoo. So
Okay.
they could have waited. I'm on this food plan. They could have waited till I lost some weight because I look just like a big old black blob on the side of the page there. But anyway. Oh, that's not good news, huh? Oops. Anyway, your question about what did we learn during the pandemic? I learned that I don't have to be going 90 miles an hour all the time and be everywhere at once. So I can just stop and I can still be productive and I can still stay in touch with people and get things done without driving myself crazy running everywhere all the time. So that was a hard lesson but a good lesson. And that's what I learned. So there we go.
Awesome. And you're gonna remember that for the rest of your life, right, Kayla?
Well, if not, you can remind me every week.
It's to remind you. And
There we go.
things in case you forget. You have witnesses now.
That's right. That's
It's a
right.
good thing. Good thing. Yes, good for you. I must say I learned a bit of that lesson myself, and life feels pretty okay when you slow down, right? You don't have to do it all the time. Yeah, good for you. And congratulations. And by the way, pick that paper up and put it in front of your camera again. Awesome. Congratulations.
Yeah.
When you take that paper and you do this, it's like, whoa, what are you doing, Kayla? Let us see you. And we can celebrate with you. I want to see you. So, all right, fabulous. Joan Kruger.
Thank you, Kayla. I have another copy of that, in case you want another copy for whatever reason. So you need to leave one in your file and leave one on your home desk and all that sort of thing. So,
Frame it.
my good news is my brother's visiting this week from Wisconsin, and we're having a lovely time. And he's adjusting to the fact he's usually here over the holidays when I take time off and we can play every day. And so he's adjusting to the fact that I'm working during the day and he's staying occupied, and then we do something fun in the evening. And I'll say doubly good or bad, Maricopa County community colleges were shut down this week for lack of IT systems, which means that I wasn't teaching in the evenings and I had the time to spend with them. So that was really nice. But so the lesson that I've learned, I think, is similar to Kayla's. I feel that, and I have felt now for at least a couple of decades, that the busyness of the world and the requirements of our jobs and technology have prevented me from following some of the, or focusing on some of the items in life that I find are more important. And I fall into the trap of being busy, and have enjoyed not having those traps as much. So for my chamber friends, as much as I love seeing you in both Gilbert and Mesa chambers, not having had all of these events that we've needed to go to, and has just been delightful. And for me, Zoom has been a great replacement. It's not a 45-minute, I think we've said this before, it's not a 45-minute drive here, and coming home from Central Phoenix at 5 o'clock in traffic and wishing that you could be in the HOV lane instead. And so for me, it was a reset. COVID's been a bit of a reset, and I think I will hang on to that. I think I'm far enough along in life that I can be grateful for having been reminded of what's important. And
Awesome.
so
Yeah.
I think that's where I am.
That's a good one. Good. Thank you. Linda, share your good news.
So, well, I'll tell you a funny story. Some of you, I think Shauna may know this, and there's kind of a joke in the office about one time Sally went to a meeting and there was a picture of a really handsome guy, Italian guy. And I said, did he wear socks? He doesn't wear socks, does he? And she said, I don't know. And she looked and he didn't. Well, I said, I told you. And so yesterday, Sally's in a meeting and I get a picture, and it is this guy that, from the knees down doesn't have socks. And I'm thinking, what is that? And I went, what? And so Sally said, yeah. I said, okay, can I come see his face? And she said, yes. So I walked down the hall and I'm trying to figure out, oh boy, he was very nice looking. But anyway, it was really, at first when I saw that picture, I didn't even quite know, because it was like from the knee down. So anyway, it was kind of funny. It's been a good week. It's been a busy week, and all good. I've been thinking about this all week in terms of what have I learned, and there's been several things, but the one thing is that so accustomed to going to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing, and having the ability to just say, okay, I'm in the moment. And at first it was really uncomfortable because I'm not used to being in the moment. I'm used to being on the next thing. And so for me to be able to concentrate on just the moment. And the other thing that I was concentrating on, and it was something that you'd brought up, Victoria, and that is kindness. You're going to see what you're calling in. And it was just this amazing kindness everywhere I went, you know, neighbors helping neighbors and people bringing groceries in and doing all these things. And so to be able to have that ability to just say, okay, this is what it is, because I felt like I was in timeout for a while, but to be able just to appreciate that being in the moment, and also that incredible kindness that was everywhere, and also to be able to journal. So for the past years since we had been getting on, I've been journaling and, you know, looking at the three things that I'm grateful for. And it's just been amazing to look back at that. So anyway, and I really want to say thank you to you, Victoria, because that really would not have come to the forefront had you not brought it to fruition here in this group. So.
Well, that's wonderful, Linda, because you always inspire me. And yeah, I think when you go out looking for kindness, since you're a very kind person, I think just I'm going to say you are creating it. I'm pretty sure. So you can't find it if you don't create it. So good for you. All right, Melissa.
Let's see, good news. I had a coworker who retired in December, and she's already back doing some consulting work, but just on her own time, her own hours, where she wants to be. And she came out to meet up with some girlfriends in Arizona this week, and I had the pleasure of having a work lunch with her at Scottsdale Fashion Square and catching up. And it was just lovely. And it's so cool when you have a job. Like I got to go to breakfast with Joan a couple weeks ago, and just, you know, where I get to like network and catch up with people and talk. And so, you know, it was making me appreciate my friendship, but also, you know, my job and my company. In terms of COVID, I think, you know, a lot of the lessons, like you guys, to slow down, take a deep breath. You don't have to be everywhere or do everything. But for me as a mom, I think I've always been kind of a chill mom. I had my kids a little bit older, you know, I was in my early to mid 30s. So I've been a chill mom, I feel like, from the beginning. But I think kids really, you know, I wrote down, you know, they feed off of us. And I saw a lot of my friends, you know, with COVID and everything last year, just getting nervous, Nelly, and just stressing out. And you could see that in their children as well. My kids, they don't even know what happened this year. They're happy. They're, you know, they have to be home. They had a chance to do stuff with their friends virtually and now back in school. And so I think that's just been a big lesson to remind me just to, you know, that your kids are watching. So you have to, you know, act appropriately.
Awesome. Awesome. Thanks for sharing. Yeah, I saw your picture at Fashion Square and I thought, oh, I miss that play. I mean, honestly, I miss going out anywhere, but I thought, oh, I would love to be wandering around Fashion Square right now. So
Yeah, well, just so everybody knows, even with the governor's announcement yesterday, we have made the decision corporately that we're going to continue to require masks for a while in all of our malls.
I think that's a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
All right, somebody's on with the phone number ending in 1551, and I don't know who that is, but why don't you give us your name and share your good news?
That's Naomi. Can you hear me?
Yes, Naomi.
Hi. Okay. Let's see. Good news. One thing I learned, it's the first time in about a half a decade that I've slowed down. I started working on my bucket list that I've been working on and writing things on for half a decade. So I'm really proud of myself. I am making progress with the declutter thing, but you can only do so much of that a day or you just, you know, go crazy. Talking to friends and family, I really haven't had contact with for decades. And I started writing the book that I had a creative writing professor at college 50 years ago telling me that I should write a book. And I said, how can I write a book? I haven't lived enough. I don't know enough. Well, I guess I know enough to start it because I had some time to start it. How about that? Played music on my piano, some tunes I hadn't played in a long time, reading books. I got a stack of books always I want to read, so I'm catching up. And good stuff.
Good, good, fabulous. Sounds like you're catching up with the life you've been living. Good for you.
Catching up, yes.
Okay. Lois, hi, welcome to the call. I haven't seen you for a while. Why don't you give us your good news? And
it's been a while, and it's really happy to see everybody. Victoria, I don't know when's the last time I saw you, so I'm really happy to see you and that you're back on and sharing your wisdom and your nuggets. So COVID, I would say my good news. My good news is that my little sister received her certificate. She, as you guys know, she's a teacher, and with this COVID thing, totally went bananas. And trying to get set up technically with technology in her house and to still do everything. And so we found an online school, and she's in North Carolina. It's so funny. The one that we picked that kind of migrated and what the universe sent was from Arizona, and she ended up loving it. She just was so enthusiastic, and they ended up giving her great recommendations. But now she is certified to teach online internationally because she's ESL anyways. And so this was such good news and kind of gave her such a boost and an uplift. It gave me the boost and the uplift as well, because it was her son that I was homeschooling. And he's also, they're in the process of moving, but long story short, still in North Carolina. He's been accepted into a program in a school that's highly recommended. So I'm thrilled because I was quite for a while, my baby sister, raising her and seeing her go through that. Pretty traumatic. But now I think she's on a good path. So that's my really, really good news. And with the pandemic, I think what it allowed me to do was reach out and to also connect with family members I did not even know. So one of my family members has put out a Zoom and a link, and on Sundays, anyone can join. And so I've been meeting family members that way from all around the country. So that's been really, really good. And also just the pandemic has also allowed me to do some online mentoring. And that is huge for me. I've always enjoyed that. And now it just allows me, I think someone was saying, you don't have to travel 45 minutes anywhere anymore or whatever. So that allowed me to really open up to offer mentoring to the SCORE organization that I'm with. So that's my news. Yeah.
Great. Well, we're glad you're here, and thanks for sharing.
Thank you.
All right, Lisa, share your good news with us.
Hey girls, it's my first time to your Friday group, so thanks for having me.
Welcome.
My good news is that my house went on the market this week and we have an open house tomorrow.
Okay.
So we are super blessed to be selling when things are very high, and that I don't have to go looking for a house. We're buying my husband's parents' home. So that otherwise it would have been a terrible experience. Every penny we would have made would have had to just go right back into something expensive. So, and we're moving because we live in a 2-story house and my husband's got really bad neuropathy and it's just a very dangerous place for him. So we found out about 3 weeks ago this was all going to happen. So a house I've lived in for 25 years, we got ready to go on the market that quickly. And so it's been a good thing. As far as COVID, probably just like Kayla, I've been at work every day. That's the homelessness doesn't take a break. And so what changed for me was being with family, and not that I've taken it for granted, but my parents live here, my in-laws, my siblings, my nieces, my nephews, everyone. And it was just heart-wrenching to not celebrate birthdays and things like that. And it just makes you realize that not that just you have family here in town, but you like each other, and we just really missed each other. But there's a couple of practical things too. I'm not a real hand sanitizer girl, nor sunscreen. I just think there's things in there we probably shouldn't use, and I'm a soap and water girl. And so I have a totally different mindset about like when I go to the grocery store. I'm coming home and I'm washing my hands. And I just never thought about washing my hands other than when I went to the restroom or did something dirty. So I'm trying to be more aware. I'm not going to go out when I have a cold. Even if we aren't wearing masks, I might wear a mask when I'm cold to tell people I don't want you to get what I have. And then I learned one more thing. You don't have to go to Ross every Tuesday on senior day. I went about 9 months without going. So, but I'm back. So
Oh, very good. Well, I'm glad you're here. And thanks for
thank you.
sharing. Good luck. Good luck with the sale, getting some wonderful
you.
buyers who appreciate your home. That always
Who will way overpay.
yes, yes, that's a good thing, right? And
Yeah.
yeah, definitely we'll look forward to hearing about it. And hopefully you'll come back every Friday and join us.
Thank you.
And let's hear from Janice.
So my good news, I got really, really good news. So I have a 14-year-old here that lives with me, and then I have a 20, he's 21, he's so young. I have a 21-year-old that lives in Indiana, and so I'm going to be a grandma. Whether that's, he's 21, he's young, but I'm going to be a grandma. They're working it, they're doing it, and I'm building a relationship with the mom, Paige. So I'm going to have a baby granddaughter. That's happening. That's happening in August. And they waited a while to tell me because I was young when I had him. So he was a little nervous to say anything to me. He thought he was going to get a lecture, which, he was like, well, I waited longer than you did. Yes, he did. So yeah, that's my good news. I've been wanting to tell everybody. You have no idea. I'm really excited. And it's girl stuff, and there's no girls in our family. So I'm kind of crazy with that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna buy so much girl stuff.
Very fun. Very fun.
So what did I learn? I've learned a lot. Like right in line with everybody, I'm not gonna lie and say that I've learned how to slow down. That would just be me lying through my teeth. But I have been kind of forced this year because I was already prepared because I've been working from home for so long that when COVID hit, I'm over here ready. And so I was able to take on a lot of business. I've learned how to say no. And I've learned how to say, I don't do that. And I've learned how to kind of stay in my lane a little bit more so that I'm not spreading myself so thin, and I'm getting better at that. The slowing down piece is, that's a daily battle. That's I got to take time for myself battle on a daily basis, but you get better with practice, right? So that's what I've learned.
Very good. Very good. All right. Now let's go down to Mira. Hi, welcome. We're glad
Hi. So my good news is that I actually had a family member that had passed away recently, but as our family has been able to get through it, so I feel like that's been good for us, and I feel more I feel happier that she's at peace. And then with my other aunt as well, she's sick, but she's getting through her treatment. So for me, like it's been a difficult past month, but I feel that we're slowly getting better news in our family. Something that I learned from COVID is that sorry. I learned that not to take for granted the relationships that we have with each other, whether it be our family, our friends, our social gatherings. It's a lot harder to do over video calls or anything like that. But the time that we have here is something that I'm definitely not going to take for granted in the future.
That's a good lesson. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good one. It is. I have noticed, I have taken things for granted, and that's a very good lesson to learn and carry forward. So don't take anything for granted, right?
Yeah.
Oh, well, my good news. I have a lot of good news this week. I think, okay, this will reveal the kind of person I am. So we downsized to a condominium complex, and we love our neighbors, and they're all great. And one neighbor moved and the place was empty, and we're anxious to meet the new neighbor. And we find out, and we met them. They're darling young couple until they said the magic words, we're renting it. I'm like, I have been a renter, but you know, there's always this thing about, oh, we have renters in the neighborhood. When you're in a condominium complex, if any of you are or have been, it's kind of a, you know, it's kind of a close place. And so you wonder, or you're concerned about noise levels and all that. So I had visions, and these places are 3 stories and they're over 2,000 square feet. And I had visions of like 5 or 6 college kids renting it together and making noise and who knows what. Finally, I get a text that says, well, we've leased it. I said, wonderful. To whom? And they just came back and they said, well, her name is Latoria, interestingly enough. I'm like, her name? I thought, one person in a 3-story, all these bedrooms. Wow, I was just so curious. We met this woman. She is absolutely delightful. And then I really worry because I'm thinking, what single woman in her right mind rents a place this big, signs a lease for a year? That's weird. Something weird is happening here. And I don't know what it is, but you know, we're overrun by dogs. Something will happen. So lo and behold, she couldn't be any nicer. She is absolutely a single woman, absolutely renting 3 stories because she wants her children and her grandchildren to visit her from Chicago. So there's nothing unusual about it. She's a nurse and she couldn't be any nicer. And by the way, she's always wanted to have the name Victoria. So we are definitely off to a good start. we had our moment. So happy that turned out that way because we have a really lovely neighborhood and I just didn't want any trouble or anything less than a wonderful neighbor. So that was our good news. And the other good news is very selfish. We actually have someone coming over happy hour tomorrow. And I'm so excited. It's the person that arranged for us to get our shots. And it's so exciting to have somebody coming into your home, right? And then I got a lovely offer that a woman that I absolutely adore is going to come and pick me up and go to coffee. And then another woman that I find out lives within a mile of me goes, oh, well, that's easy. Now that I know we live next to each other, we could actually go and have coffee. And I'm thinking, oh yes, thank you so much. The world is opening up and I get to see people, but more importantly, I miss the company of women. Oh my God. There's something about just the company of women. So this call has been wonderful, but you know, it's not the same as in person. So I'm really, really happy that it's actually starting to happen. So that's my really, really good news. And what I've learned is a very good thing for me. And it sort of goes along with what everybody said. The idea of slowing down, the idea of not taking people or things for granted, the idea of just not controlling. I have come up with the summary of one word, which is commitment. And I have learned the power of commitment, which I'm going to allow and embrace for the rest of my life. Because before it was always make it happen, set a goal, get going, hustle it up, let's do it. Even if I couldn't control it, I could figure out what to do and go make it happen. So in place of control, in place of self-discipline, in place of grit, in place of what I like to call persistence and truly a stubbornness, I have realized that commitment is kind of going to be my MO. So the idea I can commit to whatever is, can't control it, don't know when it's going to stop, but I can commit. I can commit to taking one more step towards something that's difficult. I can commit to making a friendship. I can commit to seeing someone, having a conversation. You know, conversations without eye-to-eye contact is sometimes very difficult, but I can just commit to waiting until we have a conversation, just letting everything play out and not thinking anything is that terrible. Just commit to being there, like be here right now. And somebody said that too. So I'm kind of enamored with this idea of, I think I'll just hang on to commitment. So that's been a big lesson for me because that's not been the way I roll. I say I meet my commitments, but the idea about just commit to being there, not figuring it out and letting it unfold. That's a tough one for me, but I had no choice. And look what happened. I got through the year really well. And I kind of like that as a better way to be. And people tell me I'm not quite so, I believe the word I heard once was intimidating. And one other thing was steamroller, that sort of thing. So I think, I know, I thought it was a good quality until I thought about it and I thought, oh, I don't think so. You get it done. But you know what? Somebody says, you know what I love about you? You just get it done. I mean, you're like a machine, like a steamroller. You just go for it. And I'm like, I don't know how good of a thing that is, but it doesn't sound very good. So I am just sort of, who said chill? Somebody said chill. Yeah, I'm going to learn to chill more, just be there for the moment. So I am delighted to be here and I'm happy for all the good news, but I'm happier that you're all here and hopefully we'll be here again next Friday. I do want to mention, and sometimes we have things that we want to share. One thing I want to share is that I got, yeah, right. I got noticed that the place I got my vaccine, which is the Summit over on Crimson Road, just off of 60, is doing a vaccination day on April 19th. And they don't have any particular age requirements. So if anybody needs a vaccine or has somebody that's having a difficult time getting a vaccine, particularly, you know, you got to drive to Glendale to get it, just email me or something. I'll put my email in here and I'll give you the director's name. And the way it worked for me and for my husband was we just had to wait till the end of the day and find out that they actually had shots left over. And I don't know if this one is going to be the same. I don't know, but it is an opportunity to get a shot and to not have to drive too far to do it. So if you know of anybody and you want to give them well, probably you should let me know because I won't know the person you're referring. So just let me know and I'll give you the information so they can take advantage of that.
Victoria, what was the date that you said?
April 19th.
Okay.
Yeah. And the nice thing about it, when you get the shot, they give you the card to come back for your second shot. So sometimes when you get leftovers, you don't get a commitment for the second one. And these folks, they give it to you. And they have, oh yeah, the other thing is it's very pleasant. They have lemonade and cookies. And they have a woman, they had a woman out there singing. She was really good. She was singing songs like from the 70s. It's kind of like a mini party. It's in a courtyard and you're not mixed with any of the residents or anything, but it's kind of like a party atmosphere. And then there's a big fireplace, which was good then. I'm not sure by 419. So you could kind of sit your 15 minutes out there in a comfy couch and a big outdoor fireplace. And it's a very, very nice experience. So I recommend it to anybody that needs their shot. Anybody else have something?
I just wanted to quickly share. Last week, we had the Chris Powell thing and everything, and that was cool. But I've gotten to know Lauren and some of you only through this group, and I haven't met a lot of you in person. So I had planned today to reach out to her, in private message and say, hey, I want to, meet up. I want to hear more about your incredible weight loss journey. I'm always looking for inspiration. That's kind of one of my challenges. So I just happened to pop up on Facebook, and a couple minutes ago, she posted that she just got out of surgery and they didn't find anything crazy about her issues that she's having with her blood levels. So they're sending her to a hematologist now, but she's feeling great. So I was like, oh my gosh, this is so weird. I need to share it with the rest of the club.
Thank you, because I was going to go on Facebook right after. Yeah, Lauren, so this group, for those of you who don't know, is part of the Women's Business Connection. And Peggy Lawson, who's usually on, is the facilitator of the Women's Business Connection, as is Lauren Leverett, who is this wonderful, tall, sweet smile, beautiful blonde who just is delightful. And she has whatever issues that her blood levels keep dropping. And so I'm glad she got through this one, but I would love for all of you, since she's often with us, to just send a little prayer that they find out what this thing is, because she feels good now, but she has 3 little kids and she's a single mom, and just send a little prayer because they don't quite know what it is yet. But yeah, thanks, Melissa, for you.
Yeah.
She's speaking of a mile from me. I was chatting with her and we're talking about wherever, whatever. It turns out the new house she bought is like half a mile from me. So she's the one.
When you mentioned her transformation, I had met her when she was the executive director of the Midwest Food Bank.
Oh.
And she, she's beautiful. So, but she recognized that she had some weight issues and she was going to address it. And the next time I saw her, I mean, it was really transformational inside and out. It was amazing. And she's so sweet and just lovely.
Yeah, she's one that glows from the inside
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
Melissa, thank you so much for sharing, because actually, not even a couple months ago on one of probably the nonprofit vitality group, Lauren and I connected and we made plans to go to lunch.
Oh, yeah.
Just out of the blue, we were going to meet at Pita Jungle, and she woke up that morning not feeling well. And so we haven't been able to connect. And so now I'm so grateful to know this news, and I can email her differently this time. So thank you for that.
Yeah, good. Great. Anybody else have something to share? Something we need to know?
Well, Victoria, for those who weren't on the Women's Business Connection and didn't get to hear what you said, I have this little sticky note here, and I've probably shared it with, I don't know, about 15 people since Tuesday.
Oh.
And when you said, so this is how I recapped your call, just so you know. So
Okay.
for those of you who weren't on,
I'm ready.
if I'm not challenged, I'm not growing. Challenges are opportunities to grow. Live your life with ease and grace.
And yes, absolutely. And I shared on that call. I once heard a fellow, I was in a workshop and I just left corporate about 20 years ago. And I had been, I was a corporate executive, Silicon Valley, worked with all men and just like go again and make it happen. And this fellow had such an energy about him. And he said, he kept using the words ease and grace. And for a man to talk about living with ease and grace, I thought was good. And I thought, yeah, that's what I'm on. I think I'm in for ease and grace now. And it took me about 20 years, and the pandemic sort of brought me to that place. So yeah, and it doesn't mean you don't have challenges, and it doesn't mean you don't grow, because I also know if I don't grow, I'm sort of ready to be done. So thank you for sharing that.
We recorded that call, and so if you're interested in checking out Victoria and her great presentation, it is on our website.
Oh, thank you. I might go hear it myself. I always wonder what I said. No, I actually use notes, and I usually don't do that, but I wanted to keep 20 minutes. So somebody was kind enough to tell me, next time you use notes, don't wave them around so much, because we heard it rustling. So I have to apologize to the people who heard the note paper rustling. But, oh well, they forgave me. Cool. Anybody else? Going once, going twice. There was something else. Oh, I know, the challenge. Oh my goodness. Well, you know, I got into using that word, but I think I ought to use the opportunity. Here's your opportunity for the week. I would suggest that if you could do it two ways. Well, here's what I want you to do. I want you to reach out to someone, a phone call, drop in on them if you can. That's kind of difficult now, but please make it voice to voice at least, not text or email. Reach out to someone this week and just tell them what you appreciate about them. So it could be someone that kind of irritates you. If you want to begin to heal that relationship and really spend some time thinking about what you appreciate, no matter how far back in history you have to go. It could be someone that you just really want to get to know, right? Someone that you like, that you want to get to know. Or it could be someone that you just haven't seen for a very long time. But don't go home and tell your honey how much you appreciate him. Do that, but don't make that the only one. Just reach out to somebody to make it something a little special. And then just take a deep breath and allow them to tell you how they feel about that connection. I'm pretty sure they'll say something about it. I'd be surprised if they don't. But you need to hear what people say and how you make them feel when you appreciate them. And then just take that in about who you are and the power you have to make other people in the world feel good. So reach out to someone and appreciate them. And then when you tell us about it next week, kind of recap, like Mary did a good job, but recap kind of what they said about that and how you made them feel. Good enough?
Good enough. And Victoria, it's Lois. When you talked about the word ease, I knew I had that in my morning ritual and I couldn't remember the phrase. So I did find it. And the topic was be here now. And in that phrase where ease was, it says, I rest with comfort and ease in the present moment.
Mhm.
So I wanted to share that.
Good, thank you, thank
That
you.
was just this morning, and then you guys talk about ease. So
Good timing, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Anybody else, anything else? Well, good. If we're sending good energy and prayers, let's send them up to Sally's brother-in-law is getting surgery. And of course, Sally's worried about that, but you know, send all that good energy up to them and hope that she's re-energized and refreshed by connecting with her family, because it's hard to reconnect when you have a challenge like that. But she certainly has worked so hard on behalf of the chamber this year that I think it's great she's up there visiting family.
Yeah.
Good. And we'll see you next week and hear about your magic phone calls.
Great. Nice seeing everyone.
Good to
Bye-bye.
see you
Guys,
all.
for all showing up.
Bye.
Bye.
Stay connected to Mesa Chamber social media, email newsletters, Monday morning message, and mesachamber.org to always know what's happening at your Mesa Chamber.